In the first webinar, we will do some operations. We will choose the shoots on some plants. We are talking about a bilateral Guyot. As Carlo was saying, these plants are 15 years old, more or less. When there is the vegetative recovery in springtime, when the buds start to sprout and the shoots start to grow, it is very interesting to perceive the quality and the general feeling that the development of the shoots can show. As we walk through the vineyard, we can easily perceive that there is an evenness of the shoots development. It is a very important aspect. As we have said many times, shoots should grow in an even way. This has different consequences, both in terms of negative consequences and positive consequences. And we're talking about the overall production, of course. So we need to consider the physiological aspect of the plant. These are plants that we care for by following the Simonite and Cirque method. And over the years, we can see that the quality of the sprout is really good. We can see that there is a really positive trend. Even after strange events like late frost or cold periods, the plants have more reserves and they are able to react very well despite difficult circumstances. After the winter pruning, what we have to do now is regulate the development of the plant for the new season. Then in the next season, we will have the main part of the production, because then it will be followed by the harvest. So now we are about to choose the shoots, and then there are other steps that need to be done so that the plant can be cared for not just in winter time and in the selection of the shoots. My suggestion is follow the plants, leave the vineyard during all seasons in order to fix some details even afterwards. Now we are about to do the first procedure. Here we have the bilateral Guyot. As usual, we need to get a general view of the plant. We need to have a global assessment of them. We need to have a look at the morphology. We can see that there are some trunks with latent buds that we can remove in this position. We are talking about the trunk. So we can easily remove these shoots even by using our hands. Carlo, we can say that we can just remove them like this. There are some basil leaves that I can remove as well. And it can be useful also because you can see the plant in a better way. After the trunk, I can see two beautiful branches. The shoots that are near the branches, the one that are directed upwards, can be removed by using our hands. For at this point, we shouldn't do any cuts. And what we can do is just cleaning and eliminating the shoots that we have at the base of the structure of the two branches. Then we need to discover and to look for the spurs. In this case of a bilateral Guyot with two branches, we need to identify the spur in order to control the development of the branching, and in order to have a look at the process of the plant, or even over the months and over the years. So we should look for the spurs along the sap. There are no wounds here, as you can see. This area is perfectly clean. It would be a mistake to leave the spurs here on top, so we need to look for the spurs near the fruiting cane. We have one fruiting cane on the left and the other one on the right, so we need to look for the spur on both sides after eliminating the shoots that come from the old wood. Then when we get closer to the fruiting cane, we need to stop for a second and assess the situation. We need to see the type of quality, the type of variety. So it is better to. Now we can look for the spurs after removing some leaves, so I can even touch the branches. I can see the spur that I left last winter. Here it is. The result is great because we can see the first bud, the most interesting one. It gave birth to two shoots. There is a primary and a secondary one. We need to consider the position of the shoots. On the other side, there is a shoot that was born from the spur that I left last winter. Now it is clear that we need to protect, we need to keep the spurs that we left last winter. The first bud that gives us continuity and is perfectly in line with the row is the one that comes from the secondary axis of the bud. So now we need to eliminate the shoot coming from the main axis. So we shouldn't cut too close. We should leave a certain distance, especially in the first period. Then in these positions, we can also use our hands. We can also wear gloves if we want. Probably it is better to do so. When we choose the shoots that are very important to give a continuity to the plant, it is better to use the scissors. In this way, we make sure that we do not pull excessively, because if we pull excessively, we would damage the plant. Now we also eliminate other parts. Here we can see the chronology of the plant. We have the fruiting cane, the spur, and this is wood which is 3 years old. Let's eliminate the shoots that were born here. Now let's have a look at the cane. Let's have a look at the fruiting cane. Sometimes the shoots that come from the spur are not in correspondence with the main axis of the row. So we should avoid any risks of breakage. This is the most important thing, because many things can happen. Let's have a look at the left fruiting cane. So first we need to keep and to see what happened on the fruiting cane. I need to eliminate the double shoots, and we just leave the ones that were born on the main axis of the bud. So we need to verify whether we have two shoots. If they are very little, like in this case, I can also eliminate them by using my hands. So scissors are not necessary. But if they are bigger, I need to use the scissors even on the fruiting cane. Let's have a look at the quality of the shoots along the fruiting cane. Here I can see a very small one. I need to remove some leaves in order to have a clear vision, clear view. I hope you can see it well from there. Generally, we remove the shoot that is born on the secondary axis. Generally, we can recognize it because it is a bit smaller. It is not always like that, but most of the times it is so. It depends on the type of the varietal. So in this case, I can see that there are some differences in terms of development. I can see that there is a difference between the shoot that was born from the primary axis and the second axis. So I can see that the latter has two bunches, while no, it is not just one in the first case. There are two bunches in the second, in both cases. So now let's have a look at this more closely. Can I drink some water? I'm sorry, because I have a cold, so I need to drink more often. So we can remove the secondary shoot by using our scissors, right? Yes, we need to verify whether there are other double shoots along the fruiting cane, and then we need to carry out an assessment. Do you remember that in winter time during the pruning, we need to balance the vigor? This is a very important aspect, that it is very helpful for the plant so that the plant can express itself in an adequate way. So shoots should have the right diameter in order to have the right load of grapes. Then there are a lot of benefits from it. Thanks to the method that we apply, we can also be consistent over time so that the development of the plant is even and the morphology of the bunch, the weight of the bunch is regular. Also, this is beneficial during harvest time. We need to have a look at the distribution of the shoots. We need to balance the vigor, because in winter time we considered the load of buds, which had to be in line with the development that the plant had at that time. We had to consider the branches, the shoots, and we were talking about reserves. So balancing the vigor means, for example, considering a load of 5 buds, and we left 7 of them. We did so because probably there were some risks related to some breakage, related to some illnesses as well. So many things could have happened, right? So that's why for each fruiting cane we left a margin of 2 shoots. Now we could remove them, or in the following steps we can consider if we can assess the development of them. So if we see that the development is not even, then we can have a further step in order to eliminate the ones that are not developing really well. We should also consider the space, that is the distribution of the shoots in the available space, in order to avoid problems. We need to consider the health of the plant, the distribution along the space, so shoots should be able to grow, and so on. Let's have a look at this shoot, for example. It is in proximity of the development of the spur that we can find in the following plant. In this case, they might overlap. So thanks to the margin of 2 buds that I had left, I can eliminate other shoots that have not developed. They do not have any vegetative apex, so they are not meant to grow. On the other hand, I can also remove some shoots that might be too close. I can eliminate them and create a sort of window, an extra space that can allow for more space. So I think that the distribution, the development of the shoots is quite even. I can also see that I have a good balance of the vigor. I have cleaned the primary and the secondary structure. So I think that now this is good. We are done here. Now let's move on to the other side and let's do the same. It is very important to work by following a certain order in order to have a specific method. Each operation that we carry out should be done completely. I need to look for the spur now. It will be at the end of the development of the branch near the fruiting cane. Let's eliminate some leaves in order to see more clearly. Let's see what happened here. This is the spur. I don't think you can see that from the other side. Maybe Francesco, from here we can see that. There is also the pole here. Probably there was an accident here. I can't see very well. Probably the second shoot was broken. Okay, it doesn't matter. In this case, we just have the first shoot of the spur. This is the first shoot coming from the crown. I can see probably it comes from the burion. There is a visible bud. In this case, we do not have any choice. I will keep one shoot. I will remove the second one by using the scissor because the first one is really important. It is a strategic one. So maybe after choosing the shoots, we can also strand them. Maybe in a week time, after cleaning the plant, we can see a good development of the plant itself. Then we can add another step. We can strand the shoot coming from the spur. It would be a good idea. Next year, if everything goes well, we will have the right position for the spur, but the fruiting cane will be the one of the previous year. This is very interesting to notice because these are things that usually happens in the vineyard. Let's have a look at the fruiting cane. I need to verify the presence of double shoots. So if they are very little, I can eliminate them by using my hands. If they are bigger, I need to use the scissors. I need to see what is there behind the pole. You can see that the plant stops here. So I have just eliminated the double shoots of the right fruiting cane. I have chosen the shoot coming from the spur, the only one which is left because probably the second one got broken because of an accident. There are 2 reserve shoots. We need to balance the vigor of the plant, and for each fruiting cane we have 2 more buds. Now we can decide what to do. If there is a good development, an even development, I might want to give more space. So I could eliminate this shoot, which is here in correspondence of this curve. So I can leave the first 2 shoots that come from the fruiting cane because they might be useful in order to have another fruiting cane next year. This one might create some problems here, so I can remove it. So I can have more space here for this shoot. There is enough space now. It is fantastic because the quality of these shoots will determine the space, the balance, the vegetative balance the vigor. So all of these characteristics allow us to have a really healthy plant, and also to have a great starting point. There is a good number of shoots and a good quality of shoots. This is perfectly in line with our activity of last winter.
Io scusa Carlo, ma devo bere un po'.
Now it's time for a question. When there is a young plant, after we select the shoots, can I eliminate the bunches in order to... Can I also eliminate young branches? And if so, with what procedure? Of course, we can do that, especially in the growing phase. The most important goal at the beginning is providing more root and benefit the primary structure. So it might be okay to unload the grape a bit in order to concentrate, to focus on the growth itself. So we should always consider the variety, the terroir, the soil, the weather. So it is not easy to give a specific answer to this question. You need to assess the situation as it is. And it depends on the timing. There is also another question.
Se l'arrotolamento, la semplice stesura del capofrutto può influire sullo sviluppo di
the pros and cons of the wrapping the canes and not wrapping them, and which is the effect of growth directions of shoots, etc.
Facendo magari un attorcigliamento violento si potrebbe in qualche modo anche compromettere i vasi, no?
It is very important to protect the development of some buds that are in proximity of this area. Probably we can do just a simple wrapping. Then if it is easier for you just to wrap it, it is okay. The important thing is not to do too many movements. So the most important thing is to be very gentle and do it very softly. Then there is another question. In case there are only two sapipolar and not even one spur, how do you choose the spur for the following year? We are about to see that very soon, because if the balance of the vigor of the previous winter, we need to assess the balance of the vigor that we did last winter, and if we do not have any damages, we can have some latent buds each spring. Also, thanks to the sapipolar that serves the fruiting cane and the shoots that develop on it. If these conditions are met, we can favor the sprouting of some shoots that can become some spurs during the following winter, and then we can build a sort of chronology that is built both in winter time and in springtime. So, of course, this is clear. The most important thing is that these fruiting canes have the right balance. Another important aspect is reading, understanding the vigor during winter time. We need to respect it in spring. This is helpful for the plants so that they can express themselves, and then we can choose how to fix the plant. We need to understand what we should keep. We need to understand if there is something missing there and if there is a way to build something else.
Andiamo a vedere, andiamo a vedere la pianta.
Let's have a look at the second plant. I can see just one fruiting cane. But before talking about the fruiting cane, I need to assess the general situation of the plant itself. There is a wonderful trunk. We can remove some shoots by using our hands without causing wounds to the trunk. The trunk is perfect, and then we need to go towards the branches, the secondary structures of the plants. Now I will eliminate some leaves. These are the secondary structures. They are really evident, they are fantastic. There are two branches on both sides. They have developed over the past years. We can see it is a really strong plant. Let's remove some shoots that we might see in this position. And then we can look for the spur. The first thing that we need to do is looking for the spurs and see what happened. We need to check their position. We need to see where they are. Let's have a look at the left before. Here is the spur. Can you see that? We left it last winter. The spur has a bourgeon with a shoot. I can see the crown. There is not the right position of the buds, but it doesn't matter because we're here to fix everything. We also need to be very dynamic in the way in which we work. So there is a shoot coming from the main bud, which is not in the right oriented towards the right direction. Then we have two shoots that are born from the secondary bud. I will eliminate one of them, and then there is a very little one. But we shouldn't be afraid of that. There are some shoots that are very little. They are not developed. This is just a sign of life. Actually, it is incredible if we think about it. We can see that this little development will have a consequence in the future. We will maintain them so that over the years we can build something else. Let's have a look at what we can do here. Here I think that we can fix it. So we can keep this little shoot that is in correspondence of the sap. It has a really good position. It is at the base of the spur, so it is a crown. So let's leave this visible bud and let's eliminate the spur that is born from the bourgeon. It is not going towards the right direction, so we can remove it. We fix the situation so that we can be in line with the row. It is fantastic, isn't it? It is very dynamic. Thanks to our experience, we know what we can do over time thanks to our method, the Simonetta and Cirque method. We can softly accompany the plants along their path, along their growth. And we can meet different types of needs. We need to consider the direction of the shoots. We need to avoid problems. Also from a mechanic point of view. Let's have a look at the fruiting cane. Let's remove some leaves so that we can see it more clearly. We need to pay attention because in winter time, when we remove the side shoots of the fruiting cane, I need to be very careful because the side shoots are generally in a different position than the main shoots. So I need to continue to go towards the fruiting cane. Let's have a look at the other shoots. Let's see how they are. There is a double shoot here. I can cut it by using the scissors. I will remove other leaves so that it is possible to see it better. This is the double shoot, so I can remove it. Now I'm removing other leaves. So this is the first operation on the left side. I have eliminated the double shoots. My suggestion is to do so that the situation gets much clearer. So it is clear, so I know what I can do afterwards. Then we can also choose other shoots. The important thing is to respect the balance, the vigor. So the development should be really even. And we need to consider what is left on the fruiting cane. In this case, we can see that there is a really good situation. There is no clustering. So probably here there is a bad situation. I can solve it in two ways. The first one is eliminating the last shoot coming from the fruiting cane of the following plant, this one. The second option is eliminating the shoot, this one. We can do it in this way. We can leave two margin buds to keep the vigor that we kept last winter. I removed the last shoot to create more space. Now it is perfect. There is enough space. There is a good distribution, an even situation. So I think we can leave it like this. I apologize, but it is not possible to hear what Carlo is saying.
Potrei pensare di eliminare completamente le prime gemme del cappia-frutto, anche per non avere tralci su legno di rispetto durante la pittura.
In order to avoid clustering, could I consider removing the first buds of the fruiting cane completely, also to avoid having shoots on the spare wood during winter pruning? The answer is yes. We can create some space for the spur. If there are two shoots coming from the spur, they have developed really well, we can do that. Probably in this phase, it is better to be more prudent. It is better to wait for a good strengthening of the shoots coming from the spur, and then maybe with a second step, with a specific step, we could eliminate the first shoots that we can see on the fruiting cane in order to leave some space for the spur, and we can keep the shoots in the distal part. We can also take advantage of the apex. So this would be a good practice. It is something that we can manage, but we need to be careful because the shoots coming from the spur should be solid. Let's go to the opposite side then, and let's see what we have here. Here we can see the typical characteristics of this variety. There is just one fruiting cane on the left. There are two spurs. One has a really good position. It is perfectly in line with the sap. The cuts are all on the other side, and this is the spur that we left last year perfect. There is a very important aspect here. Sometimes the main shoots that come from the principal axis of the spur, here you can see the bud Can you see the direction of the development of the shoot? It is going towards the opposite direction. In this case, we can take advantage of the characteristic of this variety because there are 3 shoots that were born from just one bud. You know that there are different axes that start from one single bud. I need to check the presence of the shoot coming from the first visible bud and the spur that I had left. This is the baryon, this is the visible bud, there is a very good development. So what I can do now is just eliminating the third little shoot and also the shoot that is going towards the opposite direction. These 2 shoots that were born from the spur that we had left last winter are in a really good position. So my suggestion in this case could be strengthen them, could be wrap them. These shoots that come from the spurs sometimes can also reach the wires, but it will take more time. So probably it would be better to wrap them beforehand. To wrap them beforehand.
E abbiamo un altro sperone. Beh, io direi teniamolo, Carlo, perché sicuramente abbiamo a recuperare anche 2 germogli con altrettanti grappoli, anzi 2 grappoli per germoglio, quindi almeno 4 grappoli in più che vanno un po' a sostituire la mancanza.
So I need to eliminate the double shoot here on this spur as well. Normally, if they are little, we can use our hands, but it is always better to use the scissors in order to protect the shoot that we want to keep, that we want to select, to choose. So we can eliminate the other one. We leave 2 shoots and eliminate some extra leaves in order to have a clear view of the plants. So we can tie them together now, because in order to avoid any risks. So I think that this is fantastic, right? We have respected the structure both on the first and the second plant. We are building a solid, sound chronology. We can see the shoot on the spur of the previous year, of last year, of the previous year. So I can read what has happened here, how we have built the chronology of the history of the plant, and that there is a huge amount of living wood. It is so impressive. There is a question by Sophia. On the left side, you left a shoot on the spur that will be the fruiting cane for next year, and on the crown we left a bud that will be the spur for next year, right? Correct. We can use the shoots for the future spur and the future fruiting cane. I would say yes. It could be like this. If one of the shoots or both shoots don't develop in the right way, don't grow in the right way, one of them will become the spur, and we will need to choose a fruiting cane by using the first branches of the spur of the fruiting cane of the previous year. That's why it is a good idea to leave some space for the fruiting cane. We need to consider the available space that we have here. We have a bilateral Guyot, so probably it is better if we have a unilateral one. It will be easier if we have a unilateral one, so it is good to leave the first shoots coming from the fruiting cane, because you never know, right? Some things might always occur, storms, etc. So there are many factors that might affect the development of the buds, but the answer is yes.
Abbiamo 10 minuti scarsi, siamo Mancano 10 minuti alle 4. Così rispondiamo alla domanda precedente che domandava in caso che non c'è lo sperone dove scelgo il germoglio. Qui abbiamo fatto il tiralinfa perché non c'era lo sperone lo scorso anno, quindi abbiamo la risposta.
Andiamo a scoprirlo. Andiamo a scoprirlo perché come potete vedere
I forgot to say something.
di dirvi è che
Choosing the shoots
la scelta dei germogli adesso se siamo
can vary. If you have pergolas with the shoots here, you can keep this position.
stare tranquillamente in questa posizione,
Or if you have some plants that develop in this position, you can keep this position. But if you have plants like the ones that we have here in terms of height or in terms of development,
sviluppo di altezza,
you cannot work in this way
lavorare in questo modo.
because it is difficult in winter and it is even more difficult in spring. From here you can't see anything, right? And from here you can't have the right view of the development, the position of the plant. So my suggestion is always to use some protections, some accessories. It could be a sort of seat that can help you to move around and to have a good view of the position you need to work on, and you can also wear some protections for the knees, as I'm doing now. So it is very important to be at the same height as the position. It is also beneficial for your health. It is good to do some exercise. It is good for your back. So you can work outdoors, so you can take advantage of this also to train a bit, right? It's always good to move a bit. Let's have a look at this plant. As usual, let's remove some leaves before starting doing something. I'm removing some shoots coming from the primary structure. In this case, I'm talking about the main trunk. Then I can go to the secondary structures. In this case, there is a bilateral Guyot. Let's remove some leaves here to have a better view of the plant. These are shoots that come from the branches, from the old wood. I can remove them by using my hands. Here you can see the perfect development of a good plant. It is some years old. I can identify the method very easily because the primary and secondary structures are growing really well. As Carlo was saying, if we don't have the spur, what could we do? We talked about the balance of the figure and we will talk about it later on, but let's see what is happening here. So here I can't see the spur. I just can see some shoots coming from the old wood. It is very interesting because by cleaning the plant and removing the shoots, I can see that I haven't affected the life of the buds, of the latent buds. They can sprout in spring and in other moments as well. So I can see this type of situation, which can be also useful. There is no spur, so let's have a look at what we can do. There is a fruiting cane on the right, but since we do not have the spur, the fruiting cane has stimulated the development of buds in proximity of the end part of the branch. This is due to the fact that it has a function for the sap. The fruiting cane bears some shoots, so it needs a sap, and it can stimulate the development of some buds and shoots in proximity of it. They have a good position, not towards the internal part. They are always at the external part, where there are no wounds. You can see that the wood is great, there are no wounds here. Then, here I can see two shoots that have a really good position. Then, I can strengthen the structure and add the extra brick so that next winter I will have a spur. So the fruiting cane helped the development. So Carlo, I think that in this case we can leave both of them. As we have said many times, they might get broken for different reasons, so it is better to leave two of them. And then we can also tie them together when they grow more, as the ones that we saw before. Let's have a look at the fruiting cane and let's see what happened. The first thing that we can do is seeing if we have double shoots. In this way, I can see things more clearly. I can see the distribution of the shoots over the space, and I can also see the quality of their development, of their growth. I can see some shoots that are really good. They are on the fruiting cane. There are no double shoots. Oh, no, sorry, there is one. I have just eliminated that. There is another one here. Thank you, Carlo. There are no other double shoots. Now let's have a look at other things that I might need to remove. I kept two more buds in last winter, so I need to continue to keeping the balance. It is not necessary to do everything now. I can also do it later on, but I need to give the plant the right starting point. Then I will have time to fix other things. I think that we can develop some extra shoots. Probably it is good to leave the first two shoots coming from the fruiting cane, especially if we do not have the spur. So two shoots, you can see them here. The one from the Güyo1, I can eliminate that in order to avoid clustering. These can also be removed. I could do that in order to give more space, in order to have a better distribution of the plant. I think that the situation is really good. The distribution is the right one. The plant had a great reaction. The subpolar had the right function, so I think we will have the spur next winter. So first we need to look for the spur again. In proximity, it is in proximity of the fruiting cane. It is always like this, unless there are some problems. The spur is pretty short. There is a spur and a visible bud. Let me check. This is the Güyo1. They are close, but it is good. They are both lateral in a perfect position. The position here is fantastic. It gives a continuity. And next winter we will have another spur. Let's move on to the fruiting cane and remove the double shoots in order to have a clearer view, to have a look at the quality of the shoots and the distribution of the shoots on the fruiting cane. I will eliminate the double shoot now. There is a bit of confusion here, because there are some shoots coming from the following plant, so it is better to organize this space in a better way. There are some double shoots that I will eliminate now. Now you know the reason why there are even 3 shoots coming from just one bud. It is a sign of good health of the plant. So in this case, we have eliminated the double shoot. And we need to see whether we need to remove something else. In this case, I think that The last shoot that we could remove is this one. Probably this one as well, the one on the curve of the branch. But probably not, because it has enough space. So the last shoot that I will remove is this one, so I can create more space here. And then I can remove the internal one here, the correspondence of the curve. Look at how wonderful it is. The development of the plant is great, the distribution is the ideal one. We can see the history of the plant. This is what the method is about, is creating and observing the history. So we need to consider the living wood, the reserve substances, chronology, history. It is a synonym of fertility. It is a synonym of constant productivity. It is also a synonym of average weight of the bunch, which is consistent. So there are a lot of benefits that come from these operations. It is fantastic because every year, according to weather conditions, we can have a good level of fertility, 2 bunches of good weight, and an even development and growth of the plant. So when we have this starting point, I think that the situation is very promising. So fingers crossed for the future. I think that we have just established the right conditions for the harvesting period. Are there any other questions? Yes, there are other questions, but we do not have time to answer to them all. So I think that this is the end of the first session. Thank you very much for attending it. Thank you, Carlo. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the participants. Thank you for attending the webinar. Thank you for supporting us. I would also like to thank all the technicians that helped us in order to organize this live session. Sometimes I forget to thank them, so I would like to apologize for that. Thank you very much. Thank you for helping us. Thank you for organizing these webinars in a really good way. We really try to work in the best possible way in order to provide you with a good product. We try to do our best. Thank you very much again for staying with us. Passion is good, passion is important, but also having fun is important. Thank you very much again, and see you later.